I remember when I started making money, my worst purchase, because I didn't want a spring for a Lamborghini.
Right.
So I bought a fake one.
Oh my goodness.
They tried to stiff me out of the car. I had to ask some friends who knew how to find things to go and find things. The car finally shows up after 2 years from me waiting. It doesn't go into gear. Nothing runs. The car is not roadworthy. So I sent it to a shop. This is 2005. I just got the keys to that car a week ago.
What?
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Club Shay Shay. I am your host, Shannon Sharpe. I'm also the proprietor of Club Shay Shay. The guy that's stopping by for conversation and a drink today is one of the greatest and most popular wrestlers of all time. He's been a WWE megastar for over 20 years. He's currently tied with Ric Flair for the most championships in professional wrestling history at 16. He's a platinum-selling rapper, an international superstar, New York Times best-selling author, multifaceted entertainer, one of Hollywood's biggest stars, a living legend, a pop icon, idol to millions, a dedicated philanthropist. He holds the Guinness World Record for the number of wishes granted to Make-A-Wish children, a national treasure, a fan favorite, a household name. I think he's here, but maybe he isn't. John Cena.
Man, how are we going to top that? I think it's just, thank you so much for the introduction.
Man, thanks for having me. You know, I have my own cognac, bro, and what you've been able to do, and we're going to talk a little bit about it. I like to toast your career. I don't know if you drink or not, but this is my cognac. It's called Shay by Le Portier. It's a VSOP.
Very nice. Well, I will toast with you. Time is our most valuable asset. Thank you for yours today.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Enjoy.
I'm going to make the most out of this. I'm going to keep this.
We're going to give you your own bottle, so I appreciate you stopping by. Let's get right into it, bro. Sports. I mean, obviously, to be able to be a professional wrestler, you have to be athletic to do all those moves. Were you athletic? Were you into sports when you grew up?
I played baseball as a young kid. I transitioned to football at about age 15.
Okay.
I played at a Division III school in college, and I was an offensive lineman, and you can see why I played only Division III. You've been to the mountaintop. Offensive linemen are a little bit different frame.
A little bigger.
I loved the game, but I also had great perspective of the type of athlete that needs to be a professional. So I had fun in college. I'm very thankful for my time and teammates, but it was a chapter that needed to be closed.
Did you wrestle in high school?
Never. Nope. I always grew up a fan of professional wrestling.
Okay.
And I think that helped because amateur and WWE or sports entertainment, two very different.
Totally different.
Yeah. And just because you're a good professional, it doesn't mean you're a good amateur. Just because you're a good amateur does not mean you're a good professional.
Right. Well, we see Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
He was in the WWE. We also saw him go to the UFC. Yes. And he tried, NFL football.
Yes.
Did you ever think about trying out for NFL football, or you just realized, like, you know what?
So I think in Brock's case, Brock is one of the most gifted, hardest working, perseverant, stubborn sons of bitches I've ever met. But I honestly think physically he could do whatever he puts his mind to.
Right.
It's also because he's 6'4", 300 plus.
Right.
So it was a natural transition. He's also an NCAA national champion multiple times. Mm-hmm. He knew body awareness to put him in the trenches. Mm-hmm. That's a natural transition.
Okay.
I am 6 feet, 230 pounds. Right. If you were to put me in the trenches, I would get my fucking ass kicked.
What about running back?
So you also have to be a good running back. Just because your frame is like, oh, your height and weight match up. Let's time your 40. Still going, huh? So it's a lot of things have to line up. Right. And I think Brock is a physical anomaly, and I'm glad he found his home with the WWE because he's fantastic. But I think he could do whatever he really wanted to.
Is it true that you were bullied as a kid and you started working out to get away from that?
I am that comic strip, the comic in the back of the comic. Yes. So
the skinny, scrawny kid.
Yeah, who eventually found physical fitness as a way of getting people not to bother you. It wasn't get big so I could fight these people. It was get big so I could give the vibe of like, oh, I don't want to mess with that guy. Right. It's kind of my own alarm system. And it worked. But it also introduced me to sport. I found physical training at around age 12.
Okay.
And then saw the gains at about age 15, right when coaches were like, hey, kid, you want to try football?
Right.
Sure, okay. And none of my peers, it wasn't like it is today. Strength training in like the 90s, it was almost like, hey, don't lift weights. You don't want to mess up your baseball swing or your basketball shot.
Correct.
Like it was almost a taboo.
Right.
But I found a home in football, and I found team sports to be very gratifying, being a member of a team finally. You know, I grew up with five brothers, so it was kind of like I had that family vibe around me. I was able to make social connections, and you know what it's like to be on a winning team. It feels great. You also know what it's like to be on a losing team. You know, you carry the burden with each other. So I was very grateful that something that started out as a way to defend myself, it's been such a gateway to so many opportunities in life.
Prior to you working out, I read you were like a scrawny kid. You weighed like 155 pounds and you started working out, you go to 215. So, but prior to you working out, did anyone ask you to participate in sports? Did you want to participate in sports before you started working out?
I grew up in a small town where your first chance to play football started at 15. We didn't have any youth football.
Oh, okay.
There wasn't much popularity of soccer or real football, as the Europeans will call it. There was pretty much Little League baseball. So I played Little League baseball. I started late. Most kids would play at like 6. I started at 10. And I just liked the team aspect of it. So I wasn't good at all, but I was enthusiastic.
Okay.
And football was something that my skill matched my enthusiasm.
Okay.
So
did you think about playing baseball? Did you play baseball in high school or you just gave it? Okay.
I did. And I remember vividly the day I stopped playing baseball. I worked out before practice, and I was, to the coach's credit, I was 2 minutes late to practice. But it was because I had a last period class, got a workout in, and then ran my ass to practice. And the coach, I remember it, I was a sophomore, and the coach said, you're going to have to choose between playing baseball or working out. And I gave him my hat and my uniform. I said, it's been fun.
So you chose working out?
Chose working out.
Yeah. So what did you want to do when you're in high school? You grew up in this small town. You said like, okay, we start playing football at 15. You just giving up baseball because you wanted to work out. So what did you want to do?
You know, I just wanted to do things I enjoyed. And I think the North Star of my life is like not having a plan.
Okay.
What do you enjoy doing in your time off?
Nothing. I don't get much time off though.
Okay. But I also bet that's by choice.
Yeah.
Because you like to keep yourself busy, and hopefully it's the things you're passionate about.
But a lot of times, John, the things that we like to do don't pay a whole lot of money.
So neither did working out. And as a 15-year-old, I really wasn't trying to find an angle to make working out make money. Okay. I just knew I liked working out.
You just enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I did read you had some very odd jobs.
Yeah.
Growing up. You were like a limo driver.
I was an assistant greenskeeper at a golf course. I was a counselor at a summer camp. I've been security for bars. I've worked student security at Springfield College. I got to wear a neon jacket and have people ridicule me around campus and work in parking lots. I've done my fair share of odd jobs.
When did you develop this knack to be so great at public speaking?
I think, as with anything, you learn fluency through failure. And I think it was me always probably trying to stand out with my brothers and getting made fun a lot for it. And then trying to find my social circle in life as a young man and getting made fun of for it. Right. So I think it's the courage to be brash and be embarrassed.
Right. So I read you come to LA, Venice Beach, and you wanted to be a bodybuilder, correct?
Yes.
So Arnold was, you probably saw, what was the movie?
Pumping Iron. Of course.
You saw that. He's like, you know what? I think I can do that. I think Arnold's about 6 foot tall, probably weigh the same. I get the pump. Hey, maybe I can do that.
They don't time my 40 over there.
No, you don't have to run on stage with posing trunks.
And I did some local shows in New England and placed quite well.
Okay.
And just like playing football at Springfield College, the first day I stepped on the field at Springfield, I knew like, oh, I will have a career here and that's where it will end.
Okay.
I was doing well in New England. I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a try. The first day I stepped into Gold's Venice and did one of these. Like, oh, this is going to be a hobby. Okay, that's it. This is going to be a hobby. So there are guys that are my weight but they're 5'4". Okay, this is gonna be a hobby.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're real, and the thing that I tell people, everybody looks good when they're by themselves.
Sure.
But when you go stand next to somebody else that do this and are just as serious, if not more serious than you realize, you come to the realization, like, you know what?
Well, also, that's a great perspective, and you can be so dedicated in something in life and give your absolute best. But when something has a window of popularity and a lot of people know about it, the 1%, the people who identify early on their talents, strengths, and gifts, maybe have genetics for it. And then those talent, strengths, and gifts in their gene pool are nurtured in 10,000 hours of practice.
Correct.
Those are going to be the people who make money off of doing.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that I don't work as hard as the next guy.
Right.
Doesn't mean we're not squatting the same or whatever. It just comes down to, like, there's a reason you played in the NFL. I could practice the exact same amount of minutes.
Right.
I'm just not made for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's that when you take a hobby or a passion or a pastime and make it a vocation, there has to be a little bit of luck. There has to be a lot of hard work.
Yes.
There's a little bit of magic dust in there as well, you know?
But one thing that bodybuilding will teach you is discipline. Because if you're not disciplined with your eating, you're not disciplined with your training, you can't be successful. Sure. And it's hard to be successful at anything if you're not disciplined. I don't care how much talent a person has.
Yeah.
Discipline is the overriding key to success.
I agree with you 100% on that. And what I'm very grateful for in my journey is the individual discipline I had with bodybuilding and physical fitness, mixed with the team building discipline of show up for practice on time. Don't let your teammates down.
Right.
So I got to learn how to take care of myself. Hey, if you don't time your food, or if you don't get enough rest, or if you don't train, you're going to suck. Mixed with, you got to work well with others. Bodybuilding is an individual sport and sometimes a very egocentric sport. And sometimes you can get really talented bodybuilders or people interested in physical fitness that don't have the ability to work with others. I'm very grateful in my life to have both the experience of team building exercise and team building discipline and individual discipline.
So now, okay, bodybuilding is not the answer. Clearly, football is not going to be the answer.
Yeah.
You had been giving up on baseball. So now what? You take some odd jobs. You limo driver, you're a janitor, you do all these odd you're a voice actor. So when did you decide to say, you know what? Maybe pro wrestling, maybe acting. When did you come to that conclusion? This was going to be John Cena's path.
So the wrestling thing happened by accident. And I think thank you very much for all these questions. As I discuss, what do I want to do with my life?
Okay.
I think the most important message I could tell people out there is that you don't have to figure it out right away. I graduated from college and tried to apply my degree, my physical attributes, and what I was passionate about to make money. So when all this stuff started to fail, I began to be like, okay, I'm disciplined. I can show up to work on time. Don't mind wearing a uniform. Don't mind being part of a team. I'll take the California Highway Patrol exam. I'll be a cop. Failed that son of a bitch. So that's out there. And as a young man, I'm like, man, I don't have many options that I think the work would be passionate about every day. Maybe the military. I say that in the utmost respect. I was a morning person. I love to push my body beyond its capabilities.
Yes.
I love when the team wins. I want to be in a pool of people that I'm not the smartest person in the room. Love a uniform, get to travel the world, don't ever have to worry about pay. Like, there's so many pluses to the military. And those were, as a young man, those were people I grew up idolizing.
Right.
So I was like, man, I'll go join the Marines. And the weekend I was going to go from Los Angeles to San Diego to go join, my buddy was like, hey man, we're training to be wrestlers down in Orange County. Do you want to try it out before you go?
Wow.
You can do wrestling? Like, I didn't know there was a school.
Right.
I didn't know about it. It was very secret. And when we went down to see it, that's when it was like, oh, this is going to be my new hobby. I would work those odd jobs so I could do bodybuilding shows. I would work those odd jobs so I could run speed camps to play football. Now I had a reason to work my odd jobs to do this hobby on the weekends. It's like many people have a job and they can't wait for weekends on the boat. My brother is the one I always use. Loves to work his job so he can spend weekends on the boat. The job is a way to do the thing that he loves.
Right.
So it wasn't necessarily, I didn't do it to be like, this is how I'm going to make money. It was like, yo, I love this. I'm going to make money doing the shitty work. so I could have fun dressing up as a superhero on the weekends.
Right.
Yeah.
The same thing happened to me. I almost joined the military also. And then my brother came and talked me out of it. I was going to join the Air Force. And then I was going to take the exam. He came home from college, said, look, go to Savannah State. And if you don't like it, say, I went to school for a year. You didn't like it. It wasn't for me. Go to, hey, I went to Savannah State for a year and we know how that turned. We know how that turned out for me.
Yeah.
But I think something, like you said, when something is for you, when God has a plan for you, you might take a lot of different paths, but eventually you're going to get on the right track and it's going to find you.
And I agree with that. And I also want to say that sometimes you have to be brave enough to recognize when life puts an opportunity in front of you. Even though I had a plan and was like, this is the safest way forward, an opportunity was put in front of me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to try that.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people sometimes aren't aware of when life will crack that door open just one bit, right. And I think if you can be aware of that and just give your wholehearted best to the situation, you don't know what can happen.
Been hungry for some college football? Well, we finally get a taste this weekend. Don't miss any of the action. Jump in at DraftKings Sportsbook. It's a small but mighty slate of games for week 0, including a big matchup in Ireland. This is going to be DraftKings' biggest college football season to date. Enjoy the ride now all the way through the expanded playoffs. Plus, all newbies getting into college football spirit, here's something special. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bet. Score big with DraftKings all college football season long. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code Shannon. That's code Shannon for new customers to get $200 in bonus bet when you bet just $5. Only at DraftKings. The crown is yours. Since you were a limo driver, let's just say for the sake of argument, there were Uber and Lyfts back then. What type of driver would John Cena be?
The fucking worst. So this was pre-navigation, not even the stick on the windshield Magellan units.
Right.
Pre-navigation. The meat is 90s, so yes, cell phones, but mostly car phones, and the fees for a call were like $25 a call.
You're absolutely right.
I have a Randall McNally map in my shotgun seat, along with tuna, rice, and chicken, and I'm in a town car, not a limo.
That car smells awful.
Oh my God. And I'm the byproduct of eating all that, so combine everything.
Yeah.
The story tells itself. I'm from West Newbury, which is not Boston. It is a small town way outside of Boston. In my childhood life, I've only been on one highway, Route 95. So in my mind, all roads lead to Route 95.
Right.
I would pick people up for their flights like 3 hours late.
What?
Because I didn't know where the fuck I was going. And now as a traveler, if I booked a car and I'm always, if I got to go at 10, I'm going to book it to be there at 7.
Right.
Because I want to make sure it's there early. But man, I feel for those travelers. I got called every name in the book. I could barely get to the airport. I didn't know how to get people home. And the last thing you want to do after a long trip, I'm finally going to key my front door. And then you get in the car with the driver from hell where the car stinks. It probably stinks like farts and tuna. He doesn't know where he's going. It's this huge hulking guy in a town car.
Right.
I think we're going the right way.
Right.
I was the worst. I didn't last too long in that job.
I read that you're also homeless. So what was your lowest moment before you finally had some success? What was your lowest moment, John?
So I also want to put some context.
Okay, go ahead.
I was homeless by choice.
Okay.
A lot of people are struggling with the inability to choose. Mm-hmm. My dad is fantastic and always has been great to all of his sons. And he's always been like, hey, you always got a roof over your head. You can always come home. But he also told me as I left for California from the mean street of West Newbury, you'll never make it. You'll be back in 2 weeks. Oh. So I don't know if he's a genius or he's just an asshole.
Right.
But it worked.
Right.
I didn't want to come home.
He put pressure on you.
So when all of my plans failed and all my resources were dwindling, again, I had a choice. Do I stay? And if I stay, this is going to be the roof over my head for a while. But I loved it. Like, I parked my car in the parking lot of Gold's Gym, slept in the back, worked at the gym. So the gym was open at 4. I'd go shower, use the locker room, clock into work. On my break, I'd work out. The protein bar places where I worked, so I get a discount on all my supplements. Every once in a while, a 5-finger discount. Thank you, Nutrition Club stores. I was well fed. I got enough rest. And I was happy, and it was by choice. And this is a very fortunate story of being without a physical mailbox by choice. So I don't regret those days. And it was something that I think the struggle is a lot more entertaining when you want to do it. Mm-hmm. You know, a tough practice is more rewarding when you know this is the work I got to do to get the goal. Mm-hmm. It was just one of those cases.
Right. You had, so with that situation, you had very limited overhead.
I did. I was, the company was operating at a loss, and we were paying some heavy interest to the credit card holders at that point. Yeah.
So when did your break come?
When the WWE called, it was then the WWF, and said, we would like to give you a contract.
Okay.
And that was when I went from working on the weekends or working during the week to dressing up on the weekends to being a professional.
Okay.
It was a break, but my contract was for $12,500 a year.
What?
And my rent was for $12,000. No, it was my rent was $1,200 a month. So I quit my job immediately to become a professional. I was already operating at a loss, but the good thing about credit cards is they'll mail you more opportunities to get more credit cards. So I was just like, yeah, I'll just take more of the plastic pieces that get me free food and all that. This is going to be great. So I bet on myself.
Okay.
And I knew that I couldn't juggle things. If I was going to do this, I was going to do it fully focused and wholeheartedly. And if I lost, it would be by my own choices. So I quit my job. I was upside down on a lot of bills and upside down on rent and stuff, but I got to go to every practice. I got to gain fluency really quick because I mashed in my 10,000 hours. So they gave me a small break, but a break nonetheless. And then about 9 months after that, they moved me to Middle America, and I started wrestling in Kentuckiana for Ohio Valley Wrestling. And then about a year later, by accident, I got on TV.
You got called up to the big time.
Yeah.
What was that? I mean, you mentioned a situation, John, that your dad, he was very proud of his 5 boys. You guys had done a lot. I'm sure he was proud of you, but he said that when you decided that you were going to move to California, he's like, you're not going to make it. When you had made it, did you call him and say, Dad, I made it?
You know what? No. I'm really working hard, and thank you very much for asking. I'm really working hard on building a great relationship with my dad. He just turned 80 and I love him, and we're starting to dive into those moments. I can't wait to find out the answer to that question because I'm so happy with where we are.
Right.
I think for so long I wanted him to call me and be like, yo, you made it. But I still don't know if he was withholding his attaboy. So I kept going for some reason to maybe get it at the last moment. I don't know. The point is I've been able to work on self and let go of the need for his approval, which has been awesome because now we can just live as men and as peers and talk about our own life. I cannot wait to hear my dad's answer to that question. But I don't ever believe in making it. I don't ever believe someone has made it. I believe you can close chapters in your life, and I believe that there are instances where it's time to move on. But in my perspective, it's like I try never to use the word deserve.
Okay.
I prefer the word earned. Because what the hell do I deserve? I wake up every day. That's fantastic. And I try to earn the right to wake up every day. So I don't know. I think I'm worried that if I ever say to myself, I've made it, I will become complacent in life. And I don't mean not make a paycheck.
Right.
I mean not be curious about life. Even coming into this place, I'm like, wow, this place is so great. And I'm curious about the wallpaper and the fire and what this podcast is going to be. I don't ever want to lose that.
When you,
this is great.
When you left home and you said, okay, you and your dad have the relationship, you're not trying to recapture what was lost. You're just trying to move on from this point and move forward.
Man, that's a crazy thing about time. You can't fix what was happened. Yeah. And I think when you can get to a point to be like, let's say in forgiving my dad, first I got to forgive myself.
Yes.
And I got to be okay with myself. And I think when you get to that point, then you're like, oh man, you more than likely, although through my eyes, it looked like this was bad for me, more than likely, I know you, I've known you for 47 years. You more than likely were trying to do the best you could as a parent. I can't fault you for that, bud. So what do we do now? Let's have a drink. Let's have a cigar. And hey, what was your college life like? What's the craziest thing you've ever done? What's the worst thing I've ever done to you? Stuff like that's going on now.
Most of the time, John, people parent as if they were parented. And so maybe that's how his dad gave him your grandfather gave your dad tough love. But you said something very interesting. My grandma used to always tell me all the time, she'd say, son, there can never be freedom without forgiveness.
I'm a strong advocate of that, and that's the first time I've heard it. I think once you get to the ability where you can genuinely forgive, that doesn't mean you need to forget.
No.
When you can forgive, you literally free yourself of whatever the burden is that's on your shoulders. That's very profound. I'm a believer.
Forgiveness is not for the person that you feel, and I don't know if you feel this, and I'm just saying for context here. Forgiveness is not for the person that you feel that have wronged you. Forgiveness is for you.
Yes.
Because you're the one, your feelings, your emotions are being held hostage. They're living their life. They might not even know that you're wrong.
They might not even know. Like, I can't wait to have this conversation with my dad. Do you know that I've been looking for a good job for like 30 years? I never knew, dude. It's one of those things where, because we are at times uncomfortable about talking about our feelings, we don't talk about stuff. So how can someone know? You know, they're probably just trying to do the best they can.
You are a rapper. You sold 140,000 copies your first week. You debuted at number 15 on the Billboard 200, but that album has gone platinum, 1.3 million copies to this day. Did you think,
Dude, come on.
That was? Did you think that was possible?
There's nothing about the current state of being.
Yeah, you don't strike me as Eminem.
No. But this is what I will say.
Okay.
Super passionate about hip hop. Hip hop, that was why I was bullied, to as a callback to the story, because in white small town West Newbury, you wore jeans, shit kicking boots, you drove a pickup truck, and you listened to country music or rock music.
Okay.
I had a high top fade. I wore rayon polka dots, wing tips, or Adidas. I had airbrush overalls. I wore that shit backwards. Like, rap music found me, and it was rap then, it wasn't hip hop, and it evolved to hip hop, but rap music found me because it was rebellious. And keep in mind, I was one of 5 boys, and I didn't like I had a lot of angst with how the household was being run. I was a rebel.
Right.
That music found me at the right time. So even though a song like Fuck the Police might have been an anthem for the state of the social well-being in South Central Los Angeles, to a 13-year-old kid, the police were my parents, and it was me to be like, yo, fuck that. And it grabbed a hold of, like, it really spoke to me. Like just the way the music was. And in the rebelliousness, I also caught all other rap music. Like, I would listen to Kwame, and I would listen to Rakim and Nas and the Beastie Boys, and my first CDs were the Beastie Boys and the Fat Boys and like Kool Moe Dee, and the list goes on and on. Like, it was a part of me. And when I got to showcase that on television, it resonated with the audience. So again, this was life putting an opportunity in my lap. I'm like, hey, great. I'm connecting with the audience. I can keep my job that I love. And maybe I can make better music than the stock rap music that they're making for me in Connecticut. Right. Because at the time, WWE was a rock and roll company. They didn't have any depth of field for hip hop. And I listened to my own music being like, I could do better than this. It wasn't, how do I measure up against Eminem? I think if it was the case, I never would have made an album. Right. But it was like, yo, I can do better than this. Called up a friend who knew a friend who had a studio. We got some beats and we made an album. Wow. And that was it.
That was it.
And it never once was it like, how is this going to measure up? It was simply the current product that I have, I can do better than that. Right. So as far as that, I measure up better than that.
You did better than that.
So let's just see where it goes.
So when it comes to, so now you're an athlete, you're a rapper. Give me your top 3 athlete rappers. You get Shaq, Time, which is Deion Sanders, Roy Jones Jr., Dame Lillard, Master P, Kobe. You only get 3.
Master P, Kobe, and Shaq.
Okay.
Yeah. Shaq's got skills, man. I did carpool karaoke with him.
Oh, yeah.
He can flow. He can still flow.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he got a good...
So he's got a doctorate. He's smart.
So give me your Mount Rushmore, your favorite, your greatest, who you think the greatest 4 rappers are in the history.
So for me, Jay-Z, Eminem, Nas, and Rakim. Wow. And man, Rakim's voice And I I'm everyone has their bias, and I know that list is obviously going to incite riots. And we all have our bias. We all have our favorites. That's what makes music special.
Yes.
That's what makes creativity special. I was brought up in like the East Coast boom bap. I love wordplay. I love poetry. It's what I based my character on. So I think all that's super clever.
Yeah.
And that's my list.
So when John is driving around his car, who are you listening to today?
I have come a long way. I'm no longer a bodybuilder. I just want to preface that.
Okay.
Sometimes chapters can close. I'm going to retire this year from wrestling. That chapter's going to close.
Yes.
I listen to nothing.
Really?
I am a huge car guy. So when I get to drive, it's kind of my chance to meditate.
Okay.
I always try to drive something manual with a stick shift. And I always just listen to the car, man.
Really?
Yeah. And that could be like, I had one rare day off, and you had mentioned that there's a rare. I think we work in the same dimension.
Yes.
I drove around the state of Florida just for shits and giggles. I did 880 miles. I left my house in Tampa, went to Orlando, went around the thumb, went back up, went back down. And as soon as I pulled in my garage, I'm like, whoa, 880 miles, not too bad.
So you just got in the car one day and was like, you know what? Hey, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. I haven't driven in a while. I haven't taken a trip in a while. I want to be, and not once did I turn on the radio. I left at 4:30 in the morning. I pulled in my garage at 10:30 at night, stopped for like 3 or 4, I love little coffee shops.
Right.
Stopped for like 3 or 4 coffees on the way.
Did you talk to anybody? Did you turn the phone off?
At the coffee shops, talk to people. In the car, not one phone call, not one text. Phone was in the back seat, power off. And it's like my way to meditate. Right. So what do I listen in the car? Nothing. Boring. Nothing.
There was a big rap battle going on this summer.
Yes.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yes.
And Drake.
Yes.
Who won?
I know nothing about this.
You don't know anything?
All I know is the headlines. I'm the one person, the one breathing human being who did not hear bar one of this beef. I haven't heard any music, any tracks, nothing. So this is all new to me. Who won?
Man,
Who won and why?
Man,
you started out, I was like, man, I love this guy. But
just on pure just play Drake. They play it all the time. If there's not going to be a game, a football game, a basketball game, or anything that you go to where the home team is winning, where you're not going to hear they're not like us. Kendrick Lamar. Yes, Kendrick won.
Okay, so
because it's the most played disc in history already. I think it's the biggest song this summer.
I need to check this out. I've been living under a rock. I need to check this out. Yeah. All right. Kendrick Lamar. Right on.
Who of your current rappers going? You got Kendrick Lamar. You got Drake. I mean, you got these young,
So I kind of
5 Babies.
I kind of
Little Big. Duh.
I kind of drifted away from hip hop right around Drake, and I think I always thought Drake was extremely talented. Again, I love wordplay. I think his stuff is very well thought out. I think he's very poetic. I like the way he adds music into the songs. Like, I don't have enough depth of field to evaluate anybody current. He was like the last one where it becomes fade to nothingness.
Right. Well, you mentioned it earlier. This is your final year in WWE.
This is it, 2025. This is it, man. Yeah.
And so when you look at farewells, Kobe got a farewell, Kareem got a farewell. Everybody's waiting for LeBron to get his farewell. I think the thing is Tom Brady didn't get that because we didn't really know Tom was going to retire. He just like, okay, I'm done now. What do you hope? What do you want your farewell? What do you want the lasting memories of your last year in the WWE? What do you want that to be?
That's a great question. Personally, I would like to just want it to be worth it. And I don't mean that I won't get value from it. I'll enjoy every second. I just want to justify it. Like, I hope it is good for WWE business. I hope it continues to build the future of the brand and company. I hope that the events are satisfying for the audiences. From an audience perspective, I hope everyone can come to these events and either relive memories they might have had over the past 23 years or make new memories, because there's a whole new generation of superstars out there. So if a young kid who is all he's seen in programming is maybe Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, if his dad brings him in and be like, hey, son, 10 years ago, this was the guy.
Right.
And look at him like he can still go. Like, this is my guy. And the son's like, no, this is my guy. I've heard so many stories from families about like, hey, one time my dad took me to wrestling. We watched you. Now I'm a grown man and I realize that was my way of my dad bonding with me. Thank you for that. So like, if the tour can do that, that's awesome. And I don't see, you have a 0% chance of doing that if you just say, I'm done.
Right.
We're not pure sport. The benefit of what we do is we're sports entertainment.
Amen.
So I can be like, the body doesn't feel, I have a choice. I could hang around for another 10 years and do like a match a year and maybe progressively get worse with my skill set, or take an honest look at myself and be like, I can do like 30, 40 dates this year, make it a thing, tell everybody this is it, which it is, be able to close the chapter in my life, move on to things that I'm curious and enthusiastic about, and hopefully create some moments and let people take away from it whatever they want. I want it to be worth it.
What would it mean for you? You're tied currently with Ric Flair, 16-time world champ. To get number 17, who would you like to fight? The Rock, Randy Orton, Logan Paul, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. Who would you like to fight that match to win the title?
So I think that's a thing because of the legacy that Ric Flair has, and certainly I've been fortunate enough to win.
You ain't finna beat down Ric Flair, are you?
I personally know Rick, and he has a good chance of winning that fight. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think what's interesting about the tour is there are some jackpot long shot scenarios where it can happen. But to win a number one contendership in a story driven purpose, you have to earn it.
Right.
I had my chances. I've been a part-timer now since like 2018. That's 6 years.
Right.
I've had my chances of coming back and being like, I want you in a match. I haven't won a match since 2018.
Wow.
That's a slump.
That's a lot of L's.
Step one, I need to bust the slump.
Right.
So with all of those things into play, I don't want it, like I said, I want it to be worth it to the audience. So if I come back and push the champion and be like, you and me in a match, the audience will immediately see through that as he just bumped his way to the front of the line, and the guy I watch every week who's earned that spot, he just took it away from him. That's stupid.
Right.
If I win the Royal Rumble, I get an automatic chance. There have been stakes put on the Elimination Chamber. If I win that, I might get an automatic chance at a championship. The Money in the Bank suitcase is a suitcase for a championship match anytime, anywhere. So that's what's cool about doing it over a year. There are these lottery chances where I can be like, yo, he may break the record. If that's even an option, I got to start winning in January, and I might earn a shot by December.
Wow.
And at that point, I don't give a fuck who it's with, as long as I can just get a chance.
Right.
But I also, having been that champion, I respect the process, and I don't ever want to take somebody's spot, man. I don't ever want to take somebody's spot, you know?
Triple H said, you're the GOAT. I had Ric Flair on here. He said Shawn Michaels is the GOAT. Who's John Cena's GOAT of WWE?
Gosh, that's a good question. I think that's what's interesting. I can name my top 4 hip hop artists because I have no skin in the game.
Yeah.
This is a tough one to answer because I have so much professional respect for so many names. Like, I have so much respect for Rick, like an ungodly amount of respect for Rick. And
if you're my age or close to my age, he's it.
And then if you're my age and you, 1, are able to compete with him and perform with him, and 2, when you're around Rick and you listen to what those matches were, his travel schedule, the sacrifices he made, the investment he had, his passion, that's like, whoa, man, you are fucking all about this. But as I'm also enamored by the business side.
Yes.
And I don't think there's a better breathing example of what's the best the business has ever been than Roman Reigns.
Okay.
And it's amazing that I'm saying a still active talent with years in front of him is the greatest of all time.
Wow.
But he's been in it since 2012. I had to work my way up. I started on the bench and then got onto the Saturday program and then just lost every match. He came in with the Shield in a really high level spot and never wavered. Even when the fans didn't like him, he was still in a main event spot. He's been in a main event lens for over a decade now, and he's brought through his clock, and you could say whatever force has helped it, But in 2012, the stock was trading at $11. WWE or TKO stock's now at 117.
Wow.
That's on his shoulders. There isn't a better indication of, and I know it's a team effort. Nobody does it alone. But like when you say, hey, that to me is like, that's some serious shit.
Yeah,
and for me, I got to give her respect where respect is due. And Joe's smart, passionate about the business, multi-generational athlete, has respect for his family, has respect for the locker room, has respect for the business. He's a very, very smart performer and somebody I respect. He would be my greatest of all time.
You follow the path, you get The Rock.
Yep. Yeah, Rock would be second because Rock did the same thing in the 90s. Yeah. But this is the one time I can say this because Rock's numbers are always number one. Roman's numbers have been better than Dwayne's. Yeah. But I mean, gosh, that's like this. Yeah.
Batista. When you decided to say, you know what, I'm going to give this acting thing a try, because Rock wrestled, then went to acting, still wrestles periodically here and there. Batista did the same thing. Batista now, he mainly just does acting. And even Roman Reigns, he's followed in Europe. So did you have conversations with Rock? Did you have conversations with Batista?
I did, but I think our paths were different.
Okay.
I think, especially with Dwayne, he did WWE and said, I want to do acting.
Okay.
I think with Batista, he also said, I now want to do acting.
Okay.
I got a chance to do acting.
Okay.
And I got a chance early in my career. 2004 was my first movie. And it didn't go so well. And then I did a bunch of bad movies, but I got those chances because the WWE was opening a studio.
Right.
Again, if life cracks the door open, see what's behind it.
Yes.
So my boss was like, hey, you got to go to Australia to make this movie. Why? Because we were going to do it with Stone Cold and he backed out. When do we film? In a week. Get down there. Okay, let's go.
Right.
That got me kind of run out of the movie business in 2009. And then in the early, like 2010, 11, 12, I was approached with very small roles. And I'd been playing the same character on TV. Not that I was bored, but this was a chance to be like, hey, do you want to make fun of yourself? Or do you want to be part of this movie where you can dress up as a different character and do different stuff? So I didn't say I was going to go act. I just merely said, yo, there's an opportunity in front of me that I'd like to do. I know why I fucked up in the past because I wanted to be in the ring when I should have wanted to be on set.
Right.
Let's give this thing a try. And when you give it a try, give it a try. Respect the process, respect the long days, respect the multiple takes. It's not live entertainment. There's not 10,000 people screaming your name. Do this for this and do it the best you can. And that's when things start. Good work. I'm a firm believer in good work will get you another opportunity somewhere.
Right.
And that started to happen.
What's the hardest part about auditioning?
Failing. Is the thing. And a lot of the audition process, they're just looking, a lot of it is aesthetic. You know, you see a character in your mind when you read the book, and if the person walks in and they're the spitting image of that character, man, they got a good chance.
Right.
Anyone can be coachable. If I'm a director, I want to think, if I'm your head coach and I see you and I'm like, man, I think with good coaching, I think we can help this talent. So that's a lot of the audition process. So the shitty thing is failing a lot. Like it is a business of rejection. In baseball, you get to hit 3 out of 10 times, you make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's an F. Audition, it's like, God, if you land 1 out of 100, so for some it's 1 out of 1,000. Like you just get rejected all the time. And you're basically being told, you're not good enough. Wow. And they kind of don't tell you why. It's just you didn't get the gig. So if you know you need to work on your speed, easy. I'll practice that. I'll get better at that.
But just tell me that. Son, you're not fast enough.
Yeah, you don't
Son, you're not strong enough.
You don't get anything. Right. You just don't get the part.
Son, your routes. You need to work on your routes. Yeah. Son, you need to be able to get on the edge. You need to get skinny.
So,
but when you say, nah, you don't
know what to practice. You know, it's just tough. It's tough.
But then train wreck happens.
Yep.
What was that situation like? Well, I mean, they call you, it's like, okay, we got this role, John. We'd like for you to come down there, read for it, and give this thing a go.
Yep. And I sat in a room with Amy Schumer and Judd Apatow, and I was prepared. We went through the script.
Okay.
And then life handed me an opportunity. Judd said, put the script down and just riff. And we just did. And I wasn't afraid of looking silly, and I wasn't afraid of not being funny, and I wasn't afraid of failing. because I was failing all the time anyway. And I got advice from Judd behind the camera of kind of encouraging me to what to say. Amy is an angel. She made the environment so comfortable. And then when I got the part eventually, and they were like, yeah, it's a sex scene. And we want you to do elaborate and crazy stunt sex. And all those lines you had, we're probably not going to use them. We're just going to do the stunt sex scene. Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Right.
Be naked in front of everybody? Yeah, no problem. Let's do it. So that also comes with like, well, people are going to laugh at me and people are going to make fun of the way I look physically. Okay, man, let's go. Being okay with self, you know, and okay, this is what this profession is about. Yeah, let's do it. Let's give it a try.
Is it hard doing a sex scene?
Oh my God, it's the worst.
What's so bad about it?
Right now.
Did I miss something?
No, this is the thing. Right now, you guys at home think it's just us.
Yeah.
No, there's a whole fucking world back here.
Yes.
And this is like a great production nonetheless.
Right.
But dude, man, like catering was right there. Man, like the sound tent is right there. They started off, we started off practice. It was like a closed set. And I've come to grips with like, this is who you are. You work every day to be the best you can.
Right.
Fuck it, man. Let it hang out.
Right.
So when that attitude,
Literally or figuratively?
all in,
Okay.
all in. It's a short story either way. So who cares? It's just, there are so many people you need to make a movie.
Right.
There is nothing intimate about it.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
So like, it's real embarrassing. And then on top of that, to do a comedic sex scene.
Yeah.
Where you're like making fun of yourself and having, they literally like try to have the most awkward sex you possibly can.
Right.
Okay. And with an audience watching that, it's different. I don't want to say it sucks.
Right.
It's just, it's different than you all think it is. It's different.
Hello, I'm Shannon Sharpe, and I'm a Rose sponsor. Do you want hotter, more spontaneous sex? Rose Sparks can help. Sparks offer dual action prescription treatment that's giving men stronger and harder erections. Rose Sparks works faster than other treatments because they're dissolved under the tongue and go directly to the bloodstream. Why does that matter? Because now when the mood is right, he'll be ready. No more waiting for that pill to kick in. Plus, Rose Sparks stays active in your system for up to 36 hours. But when you get aroused, hey, woo, you get hard without waiting. With Rose Sparks, guys can get more confidence in bed, more satisfaction for their partners, and more control when it's sexy time. Rose connects guys with a medical provider 100% online. There's no awkward conversation with an in-person doctor. If approved, treatment ships directly to the door. To find out if a prescription for Rose Sparks are right for you, connect with a provider at ro.co/shayshay, URL, that's ro.co/shayshay. That was the movie LeBron was in. How was LeBron on set?
So we never got to officially meet.
Okay.
But I've met him at WWE.
Okay.
He's awesome.
He is.
He's awesome. Like, yeah, he's a great person.
Okay, let me ask you this. Which was harder, the sex scene in Trainwreck or sex scene at the Oscars?
The Oscars. Because I got all the people behind the camera of any production, but then I walk out in front of a room of my peers, many of which I've never met because I haven't worked my way up to meet.
Right.
I have the most decorated performers, producers, directors in one room, and I'm going to go out there with my balls in the wind with an index card covering my stuff, being like, hey guys, is this funny? Are we good? Are we all right? That was
How did they convince you to do that?
it was funny. Jimmy Kimmel called me personally. He's like, I need you to come to the Oscars. I'm like, Jimmy, I'm in between stuff. Like, I need some time to recharge. And I know I'm very good with boundaries and self of like, if I just give me 24 hours and I'm back in, I really needed some time. And he's like, just let me send you the bit. And he sent it on paper and I called him back. I'm like, when do you need me there? It wasn't a thing of like, and I honestly thought I would be more naked.
Right.
I expected full dick and nuts, but it's Disney. So I had like put tape on my butt crack and get stuff you can't. That was even more embarrassing.
Right.
Like going out there with a taped butthole. That's tough. That's tough. But as soon as I read it, and I'm so fortunate that Jimmy Kimmel thought of me, and we went through it in rehearsal. He was like, man, this is gonna be a moment. This is gonna be funny.
Right.
And only because when I invested, I invested. I didn't be like, I'll do it, but I gotta not do this, and maybe I'll wear shorts or whatever. No, I'm like, man, I want to wear my watch and Birkenstocks. And that's it. So it was just knowing that it's an opportunity and investing in that. And I don't know what or if any yield that will have.
Mm-hmm.
The money wasn't good.
Right.
It was a moment to perform in front of my peers.
Right.
But I don't know if it got me anything.
Right.
But I knew that I wanted to do it. Right. You know?
Then you did the Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad with Will Smith, Idris Elba. So these roles are getting bigger and bigger. So when you get like, damn, that's Will Smith, man, that's Idris Elba. Does that thought? Do you get starstruck when you get
all the time? And I think a lot of the awe comes from like, hey, I'm starstruck talking to you. You have been able to take something you love and make it your vocation, not a job, like what you were put here to do. And then after that chapter closes, you are now taking something you love and making it your vocation. Mm-hmm. To me, I'm in awe of that. Like that's fucking super cool. So when I'm standing next to Idris, who's been a performer on screen for decades and operates at a high level, I'm in awe. It's not of what his fame can do for me. If you look at how I operate on social media, I have very hardline boundaries. I don't ever try to treat my relationships with people as transactional. Mm-hmm. But damn, do I have respect for people that can take what they love and make it their vocation. Mm-hmm. I remember meeting Kevin Hart. Kevin is like a fucking Tasmanian devil.
Yes.
That dude goes.
He grinds.
My gearbox stops at like 5th. His goes to 10th.
Yes.
And he's on the phone and doing stuff. And all right, roll. And he's immediately snaps into camera. He can fucking cry. He can buy, sell. Cut, buy, sell, damn it. And he was trying to give away secrets of like, no, look, this is what you got to do. You got to do this. I'm like, Kevin, I am so grateful for this information. I'm grateful to even stand next to you. I don't have that gear. Like, thank you so much for the knowledge. And dude, your success is amazing. I wouldn't be good at what you do.
Right.
I know where my limits are.
Right.
And it's amazing to watch you work, dude.
Right.
He was the craziest example of somebody I've seen fluent in so many levels.
Do you get in awe when you see people greatness, you know, having been around LeBron and you watch Jordan, you watch Kobe, you watch Shaq, you watch all these great players in football. I played with John Elway and Ray Lewis, and you see Tom Brady and Peyton Manning operate it. Do you get in awe? You like, I see exactly why that person, he or she's enjoyed the level of success that they've had.
And the answer is always the same. It's the work. And by the way, no compliment for the Broncos colors.
I like that. I like that. That is the blue stitch. But I was just thinking, like, you're from Connecticut.
That's all right. Hey, man, I'm just trying to be a good guest.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I'm in your club.
I appreciate that.
The answer is always the same. It's the work. Everyone thinks it happens overnight.
Yeah.
And a lot of people build this construct of like, oh, they're just lucky. Mm-hmm. Luck is a part of life. 100%.
When preparation meets opportunity, that's what
it is. But man, luck can get you a minute. Luck can get you your 5 minutes. Luck can get you one hit single. Labor, effort, work allows you to call it your vocation. Okay. And whenever someone rises to the top of their vocation, dude, that is just work.
Right.
You know, that is work. That is at a level that I think that we call it luck, or people might call it luck because they might have trouble understanding how much work it takes. I'm always in awe because like, yo, I knew how much effort that is. That's a lot of effort, you know?
The Fast and the Furious. I mean, are you going to be in 11?
I would be in the Fast and the Furious as long as they would have me, because it's an action movie about cars.
Yes. And we were talking off camera. You love your cars.
Dude. So that franchise I'm a fan of. To be invited in is awesome, but I did have a pretty big fiery wreck in the last one. I know that they have a reputation of resurrecting characters. I hope I made it. They didn't have a funeral for me, so I'm okay. But I hope I made it. I hope I can do the next one.
We know you loved UC4 got a new GT out. They got 1 or 20.
Now, about the Ford GT.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're going to need that.
I think I'll let those find a home. Yeah.
Your new movie, Jackpot. How did you prepare for this role?
So every once in a while, a project gets put in your lap that it's like, whoa, I I think if we were to shoot this tomorrow, I'd be okay. I get to be a goofy, virtuous, self-deprecating, larger-than-life character who owns a fledgling protection agency, who I don't know any special skills or anything. I have a few of my own homemade weapons, but I throw people through walls.
Right.
I lift up heavy things. And I get to make fun of myself. And I get to surround myself with a wonderful comedic cast and a wonderful comic director and writer who are going to fire jokes at other people to make fun of me. Yeah, I can do that. So this is one of those ones where it wasn't like, man, I had to take 6 months to get inside the mind of Noel. Like, it was like, yo, this is a bunch of great jokes. The script is great. What would you do if you won the lottery and had to make it to sundown, but everyone else with a ticket could kill you and claim their prize?
Wow.
Like, it's an easy concept to understand. Great cast, fun action, like, and not asking too much of me. They weren't like, hey, we need you to go learn this ancient martial art. No, it was just like, you want to throw people through walls and haymakers and stuff. And yeah, no, it's fine.
How did, do you do your own stunts?
In this movie, a lot of the participation was me, because the stunt coordinators are like, okay, he's big, he's lumbering, he's unorthodox at times. That's how we're going to plan our action. And because it's an action comedy, you watch Jackie Chan's old stuff, very gifted, but he does action comedy. He's not afraid to make fun of himself. They also knew that I was game to do that stuff, so a lot of the physical jokes I'm a part of as well.
So if somebody really tried to hire you to protect them, the billion jackpot, what type of percentage are we looking for?
So chances are, if they were to meet their demise, and I'm probably their protector, so I'm going down in a blaze of glory, I would ask for 90%, because I don't think we're gonna make it. 90% of dead is still dead. Like, I don't think we're gonna make it, you know?
So let me ask you a question. Let's say the roles are reversed. You won $1 billion.
Yeah. I think finding someone with a special set of skills, I don't, but then again, I don't know, right? Because if you have someone who is so skilled in the arts of stealth, espionage, disposing of problems, maybe at the final minute, they go into business for themselves. You know what I'm saying? They get the ticket. It would have to be someone that doesn't have a lottery ticket. Right. If you can't play, you can't win. Right. So they don't have a ticket. Right. And they would have that special set of skills. And I don't know who that would be.
Let me ask you this. Owning your own name, WWE still currently owns that, and they get a piece of any project that you're a part of.
Sure.
You okay with that? Or do you like one day, because remember, they just gave DJ Dwayne Johnson, they just gave him The Rock. He has that now. Yep. Do you want that? You want that bestowed upon you?
No. So when you say that, like, I believe context is very important in conversations. The WWE, fair is an understatement. Generous would be a better scenario. Okay. I have such a trustworthy relationship with them over 2 decades.
Correct.
I am a champion of the brand. I love the company. It is my home. They are my family. Even after 2025, I've already signed an extension to remain a member of the WWE family for the near, mid, and long-term future.
Gotcha.
I don't think there'll be a beat of my heart where WWE blood doesn't come out of. That said, without them, I don't exist. And I fell into a weird scenario where for a hot second, people were using their real names. Nowadays, people have real sounding names, but it's not their real name, so they can own their real name. So I fell into a weird scenario, and WWE recognizes that. They're very focused on intellectual property, as they should be.
Right.
If I make a song and somebody wants to use "The Time Is Now" on their commercial, and they just steal it, well, that's not exactly fair. There's a huge conversation in the movie business about artificial intelligence. If someone scans me, takes my face, and makes 200 movies in their own accord without giving me anything, I don't know how fair that is. So in the vision of fairness, whenever the WWE IP is approached, they have to be cut in on the deal. And that's not them going, that's me going, hey, I'm doing this. Let's work out the business. Okay. A wise man once said to me, making money is the toughest part. Dividing it, that's easy. Making it's real tough. So I always operate under that construct. WWE has been, and this since the start of my contract, they've never tried to change my name, even when they realized they made a mistake. Like, They never tried to alter my being or character. They've always given me freedom to do what I want because we trust each other. Mm-hmm. I'm not out to try to rob them of what they've earned. And again, they're not out to try to take what's not theirs. Everybody wants to play fair. And when I say fair, WWE's terms are generous.
You're big in the stock market. You like to invest. So what was some of the best advice that you've received and some of the best advice that you've given people to help them be able to do what you've done, John?
We're all over the map, and I love this. This is great. This is great. Don't spend beyond your means.
Okay.
I think that is important to...
Is that easier said than done?
Yes. Yes, because of a lot of things. But I'll trim it, okay. Make it easy. Don't spend what you don't have, and try to spend less than you have so you can save a little bit.
Okay.
Don't carry debt, because, and I know that's not a universal thing, because there are many people who would advocate when the percentage of debt is low, carrying debt's good because I can beat the percentage in other investments.
Right.
I'm just afraid one day they're going to call the margin and I don't have the money.
Right.
So I tend to not want to owe anyone anything. That way all tabs are square at the end of the business day.
Correct.
Don't spend more than you have. Don't carry any bad debt. And be accountable. I think and know who you are. If you're someone who wants to get rich quick, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Understand the math behind that. Talk to a venture capitalist and ask them how many of their assets fail. A venture capitalist will invest in 400 companies, hoping one survives. There's yield from one. So if you're at home with your $100 and you want to get rich quick, you got to take that $100, somehow bet on 400 companies,
right,
and hope one hits. But if you push it all into one, you are locked into that hook, line, and sinker. So I think know who you are as an investor. Mm-hmm. Dude, I try to be safe. My stuff is the most unsexy shit you'll ever talk about. And people always are like, man, this thing's going to smoke. It's going to be great. Good for you. Yeah. And I'm also okay with the success of others.
You go with T-bills, huh?
Man, I like this club. Can I get one of those fancy lockers here? This is so know who you are.
Yeah.
And I think keeping up with the person next to you is a bad idea. Just always try to have a good balance sheet. Look at your books. Look at where you want to be. And look at what you spend, look at what you earn, look what you spend it on.
Right.
I think getting out of the habit of spending more than you make, that right there changes the dynamic of everything. If you have enough money to begin saving money, holy shit, you are beating the game. If you have no debt and can put money away, you're ahead.
What's John's best purchase and his worst purchase?
Worst purchase. Oof. Man, I made a ton of bad purchases. Bad purchases would have to be cars. A lot of bad cars. I have lost so much money on cars. And that's another thing. Be okay with your failures.
Right.
I love cars. It's a passion. I don't do it to make money. So I lose money on it because it's a passion.
Right.
I remember when I started making money, my worst purchase is because I didn't want a spring for a Lamborghini.
Right.
So I bought a fake one.
Oh my goodness. How do you buy a fake Lambo?
I found a way to do it.
So we had a Lambo body with a Ford engine?
A BMW V12. And I was like, this is like 2003. I found a company that would do it. They put a V12 in it. I'm like, man, it's the same thing. It looks pretty good. Like, it looks great. Yeah, I'll buy it. They tried to stiff me out of the car. I had to ask some friends who knew how to find things to go and find things. I then had to get a title for the car, of which I did. The car finally shows up after 2 years from me waiting. It doesn't go into gear. The motor is held together with the timing of 2 Chevy V6s, so everything's confused. Nothing runs. The car is not roadworthy. So I sent it to a shop. This is 2005. I just got the keys to that car a week ago.
What?
A week ago. I've sent it to 10 shops. I finally found somebody to do it. They did it tip to tail. And I will tell you, it looks great. But I can honestly say I have the cost, and the collectible Lamborghini market is thriving.
Right.
I have the cost of about a real Roadster and a half into this kit car.
You could have just bought a brand new one.
I could have bought two, sawed one in half, and this 1.5 cars. Be like, yeah, this is it. This is, yeah. But that was a lesson to be like, hey, if you take shortcuts, you're going to get what you pay for. Mm-hmm. So that was my takeaway from that. Right. And also, like, I don't regret it because I have a takeaway. Mm-hmm. And in the process, I met a whole lot of shady shop owners, which are great, which allows me to feel good about a good shop owner when I meet a good mechanic and someone who can do honest work. So there's a lot of good takeaways from that. But as far as like statistics, boy, I got my ass whipped on that. Best purchase? Shit, my wife's engagement ring. She said yes.
We're going to get to that one too. Fame. How have you been able to deal with fame? Because you're known, you're global, you're known the world over. And sometimes when you're out with your wife, you just want to have a nice, quiet evening. You don't get very many of those. And then, John, can I get a picture? John, can you sign an autograph? Hey, John, hey, this is my brother on FaceTime. Say hello to my brother. Can you wish my wife happy birthday? It's our anniversary. How do you deal with that?
So that's been a journey. And man, my wife is tremendous with that because she understands it. And again, I just talked about the kit. You buy a kit, you get a kit, not a real one. Find out what you want. If what I want is privacy, don't go out. Stay in. And if you want to go out, guess what? All this fun work that you get to do, a lot of that job is public service and public relations. And these people aren't coming up to me and like, yo, I want to fight you. No one's really coming up being like, I fucking hate you.
Right.
Everybody was like, yo, I just want to say hi. Their candor sometimes might be a little, it's not what I would see as, but I don't blame them. Mm-hmm. So I try not to blame them. Now, I'm not perfect. Sometimes especially when I'm going for a morning coffee, I need the coffee before I can be like, hey, what's up? But I also know that when I leave the house for coffee, I'm leaving the house. It's part of the work. And in wrestling, travel. Jeez, I wish every game was a home game.
Yes.
The travel in sports is tough.
Yes.
But it's part of the work.
Mm-hmm.
This is part of the work. And you know what I get to do for my job? Dress up. So like dress up and be imaginative. It's not that those moments aren't hard. And it's not that, and I think overall people are aware. I'm sorry to interrupt you. They know what's going on.
Right.
But damn it, they're shooting their shot. Life just gave them an opportunity. They're taking it.
Probably never going to see John Cena again.
I would like to hope that if there's ever been an interaction where somebody walks away gnarly from our interaction, they understand that maybe like wasn't a good time to take that opportunity. We're all human. But I also would like to think that I got more good interactions than bad ones because I really try to be conscious of, first of all, I would be nowhere without that person.
Correct.
And I'll go to places and people are like, yo, do you want me to stop people from coming over? I'm like, they're the reason I can sit here. So no, because man, let's get everybody. I'll say hi to 80 people and then we can all go about our meal and everything's fine.
Right.
But normally people are respectful. They're excited, and it only takes a few seconds. The biggest thing is like, I'm going to the bathroom. That's tough.
Yeah. We ain't shaking no hands. Don't be daffing.
Tough.
Stop all that talking too.
But again, people don't know. So I'll literally.
What you mean you don't know? You ain't supposed to talk to nobody in the bathroom, John.
I know, man.
Not at the urinal.
I know. So I'll take a second. I used to be real confrontational, but now I'll take a second as the business is going on.
Yeah.
Be like, you do realize where we are.
Yeah.
Right? No, you're in a bathroom. There's other people.
Yeah.
We're all doing unspeakable things.
Yeah.
I'm good, but can we do that outside? Oh man, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Yeah. They figure
reach over. Hey man. Oh no. How you gonna reach over? Come on, bro.
Because sometimes you get lost in the moment. And a lot of times it's like, oh, he's finally private. Right. He's at a time where I can approach him. When it's the worst time.
Yeah.
That and if I gotta be somewhere. Like a lot of times on set, they're calling me in to work. Mm-hmm. Those days are expensive. I'll shake as many hands as I can after they call cut.
Right.
Because people will come to these locations and it's great. But if I gotta go, I gotta go.
You gotta go.
Because the days are expensive. And while they move the lights, then we can talk. Right. Or if I'm trying to make a flight, like that's also the worst. Mm-hmm. Like, oh my God, I gotta run for the gate. Hey man, I've made people like, yo, keep up. And you gotta take your picture while you're walking. It's only because I just don't have the time. And I'd like to think that any other human being can understand like, oh shit, maybe he just didn't have the time. And if they don't, again, I'm in customer service and I lose that customer. Hopefully I get opportunities to do good work and earn them back.
Right. I'm gonna get you out of here on this one. I think I've read this, and it could be maybe somebody just reported it was a lie at one point in time that you didn't want kids. Where are you on kids now?
I don't want them.
You don't?
No, and I'm still there. I'm 47. I don't have them.
You don't want a little Johnny?
So
Or Joanna?
that's great, and that's usually what everyone says. And I got to tell you, it's not the easiest out there because a lot of why we're here is to reproduce. I have a certain curiosity about life, and I also know the investment that it takes. And my biggest fear is, as someone who's driven, many times stubborn and selfish, I try to approach the world with kindness and curiosity, but I don't think I'm personally ready, nor will I ever be, to invest the time it needs to be a great parent, because I want to live life for all it is. And I still have a lot to do, and I still want to do a lot. I have a wonderful partner I do it with. We've had open conversations about this. We share the same values. It's a tough subject to talk about because it immediately puts you in a category, and we can't help but judge. People are human nature. We're all judgmental. I'd like to believe that I operate under the construct that everyone's okay living their life. And I can tell you, this is not like a knee-jerk reaction. I've thought long and hard about this, even as my youngest ages, like 15, 16, I remember thinking about it. My opinions only hit that gray area during emotionally difficult times. Wow. And I'm very happy with where I stand. I have a lot of joy and fulfillment in my life. And that's pretty much where I stand on that.
Was that a difficult conversation to have with your wife?
No, it was actually, I learned from every scenario.
Okay.
And I've learned from my past.
Yeah, because you had a reality show, right?
I did.
And it would play. Oh man.
So that no. Again, I don't regret that.
Okay.
I look back on that fondly because it really showed me who I was.
Oh, okay.
So when I begin, I got knocked off the bike. That's okay. I love love. Time to get back up and go find it again. And in that due process, I open with the uncomfortable conversations. So those are like first and second date questions with my now wife.
Yeah.
And it was great because we both got to lean into these uncomfortable moments and address this stuff. And now we've actually built a foundation where whenever one of us is feeling bothered,
right,
nothing's off the table.
Right.
So we, of course, nobody's perfect. We have our disagreements, but we handle them right then and there. And nothing is too uncomfortable to be unapproachable. And that's like starting off with a conversation about, hey, where do you see family life? And what is the definition of our family? And what brings you joy? And is this a bucket that you need to fill? Those conversations have helped me, at least personally, and her, forge a path together as a team.
You show up and like, this is about to be the shortest date in the world. Where are you on?
So, but I also believe there's somebody out there for everyone.
Yes.
I mean, we can see that the way the world is, there is a lot of different people out there. And I think that's beautiful because that can lead to love, connection, which is good.
Okay.
I guess my takeaway on this is if you're out there and you feel alone, you're not. It may be hard to find someone who has the same values, but they're out there. And don't give up searching because you're not as alone as you think you are.
John Cena, ladies.
I'll do this one. Nice.
Thank you, bro.
Dude,
I appreciate your
thank
time.
you.
Congratulations. The new movie, Jackpot. Check it out.
Man, thank you so much.
Thank you, bro.
You are fucking great at this. Jeez, awesome.
Everyone, make sure you go out and catch Jackpot. It's streaming globally on Prime Video.
All my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life. Look, all my life, been grinding all my life. Sacrifice, hustle paid the price. Want a slice, got to roll the dice. That's why all my life, I've been grinding all my life.